beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Sure looks like Brian Norman is going to go over to Japan to fight Jin Sasaki. Some of the talk I've heard out of Norman's camp is, well, Boots isn't available this summer. He's got mandatories. A unification fight wouldn't be on the table right away. We're going to go to Japan, make some money, fight Jin Sasaki. You're smiling. Like, what is real with all this?
It's absolutely available now. We've made them an offer last week, and we've even said to them, if you are taking that fight in Japan, let's lock the fight in for after that. October, November, December, whenever. And they come back and say, we don't want to talk about any other fights until we have this fight. Which is like, fuck. We can't rely on Brian Norman to chase any kind of greatness because the purse is outrageous in terms of what he's made, and it's a massive purse that we've offered him. So I don't know.
I just don't know.
So late 2023, if AJ beat Otto Wallin, which he did, and if Wilder beat Joseph Parker, which he didn't, they would have fought, had that long-awaited fight. This Saturday, on the undercard of Johnny Fisher versus Dave Allen, if Kieran Conway beats his opponent and Jordan Liddard beats his opponent, they're going to fight for the Commonwealth and British titles next. This is how boxing has always worked. You win, you win. Now we can set up the big showdown. It's a great way to build the fight. Career-defining purses and fights for both men. What's not to like? But Brian Norman Jr., according to his dad, will be so distracted to sign to fight Boots in November, December, we can't get the unification. Brian Norman Jr. wouldn't even have to be present at the negotiating table to get that fight made. The WBC have already green-lighted the Pacquiao-Mario Barrios fight. Pacquiao hasn't won a fight in 6 years. He's been inactive for 4. But yesterday, he got ranked number 5 by the WBC. Boots has brought this on himself. He could have took that Virgil Ortiz fight at 154. That would have been a huge fight. Instead, he stuck around to unify a belt with Stanionis. Good performance, little accomplishment there, but it's not bigger than taking on Virgil Ortiz. And there he is, 27 years of age, in his prime. Can't unify the straps, can't go for undisputed because the WBC want to bring back 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao. Talking about if he beats Barrios, he wants to fight Boots. The messed up thing is Manny Pacquiao's got more heart than Barrios, who should be challenging Boots, Brian Norman, and all these young fighters who practice their trade in America. But if the media across the pond really wanted to shut the fight down, they'll have to be voicing more disapproval than what I'm seeing them do. But the UK is a different market. I tell you what, I'd probably have to do the research, but I don't remember the UK bringing in guys who've been inactive for 4 years, haven't won in 6 years, to fight for sanctioning body titles, and the British Boxing Board of Control just approved it, and the media approved it. I mean, if Eddie or Frank tried this in the UK, TalkSport would tear that up, bruh. Tear that up. And because of that, and I would hope, because they have a little more integrity as promoters, they wouldn't try that over here. I wonder if Eddie Hearn tried to make Boots versus Manny Pacquiao, how they would respond that to in America. I bet they'd be more vocal then. I'm telling you, I dislike boxing fans.
Ain't no love lost.
Boxing
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better. I mean, let's take a little poke at the rankings. WBA. I'm assuming they haven't adjusted the rankings, but nevertheless, Ryan Garcia number 3. Hasn't won a fight since when? Devin Haney number 4. Jose Ramirez number 5. Conor Benn number 7. Conor Benn number 3 with the WBC. Conor Benn ranked number 5 by the IBF at 154. Like, why would the IBF rank him number 5 at 154 when he hasn't even decided what weight he's fighting at? Is he going to fight Eubank Jr. in a rematch at 160? Is he dropping back down to 147? Why you just got him ranked everywhere? And based on what would he be ranked at 154? Why not rank him at 160? His last fight was at 160. That's where he's getting all the plaudits, fighting at 160. And by the way, he lost his last fight. Justice HUNI ranked number 1 by the WBO. And I like Justice HUNI, but based on what does he have such a lofty ranking? Let's go back to 147. Karen Sugarson is ranked number 6. Has lost twice to Boots Ennis in recent memory. And if Boots is not careful, he's going to be mandated to fight him for a 3rd time. What is going on? What has he done that anyone knows anything about, apart from getting beaten by Boots? Paddy Donovan, ranked number 3. Lewis Crocker, ranked number 1. Now the receipts are probably in Lewis Crocker's favour because technically he got the DQ win. But he got slapped all around the place for 8 rounds. And it was as much the referee's fault. And Paddy was a little over enthusiastic. That Crocker walked away with the win. He's ranked number 1. Based on that performance there,
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
no one
Can do it better.
Shakur Stevenson called out Conor Benn at 154 about a potential fight. Conor, of course, said he welcomed the potential fight with Shakur. Shakur should concentrate on Sabeda. Let's hope Sabeda gets in the ring. The most random call-outs. Shakur wants to fight Conor Benn at 154. Not at 147, at 154. And Shakur's never even fought at 140. Do they just need something to say on social media, these boxers these days? Anyway, the venue's confirmed for Stevenson versus Cepeda, Berlanga versus Shearers on undercard. The Armstrong Stadium, 14,000 capacity in New York. I'm looking forward to that card.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one
Can do it better.
undisputed super bantamweight champion Naoya Inoue got that target on his back, boy. They're talking about him facing JUNTO Nakatani, and what they're talking about will be the biggest fight in Japanese boxing history. A verbal agreement is in place with the expectation that the blockbuster showdown will land in the iconic Tokyo Dome. No more putting Inoue in America to say he can't sell in America. No more of that. Let him stay where he is, in Japan, filling out stadiums, doing what he's supposed to do. That's where that fight's supposed to happen, and that's where Inoue's supposed to box. Let Pacquiao go and blow up in America. Inoue has got to fulfill his WBA mandatory defense against Marujan Akhmadaliev in September, and that could be a tricky one for him to get past. It's a fight that a lot of media and fans have been calling for, and one would argue that Inoue not so much has been avoiding the fight, but after the Luis Neri knockdown, he may have needed a couple of confidence boosters before taking on the likes of Akhmadaliev, before taking on the likes of Nakatani. You don't normally see Inoue responding to provocation. Is he beginning to crack a little? Naoya Inoue hits back at Junto Nakatani's trainer, Rudy Hernandez, after he stated that he would prefer a fight with Inoue sooner than later, implying that they want to get to him first before someone else does. That they want to beat a prime version of Inoue rather than they beat Inoue and the media say you beat the shadow of Inoue, a faded version. Inoue, 32 years of age, replied to Junto Nakatani's trainer, Rudy Hernandez, and said, "A year from now, I'll still be in my prime. No excuses. No one's getting weaker."
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one
Can do it better.
According to Gareth Davies, Big John Fisher, dad of British heavyweight contender Johnny Fisher, apparently Big John couldn't ban Gareth Davies, who critiqued the judges, who scored in favour of Johnny Fisher, and it was controversial. Most people thought Dave Allen won, me included. And Big John threw his toys out the pram, got in a big strop about it. Apparently Gareth's been to their house before, and Big John said, "You're not allowed to come to my house." Now, Big John probably didn't have the authority to ban Gareth from the event. TalkSport will not be covering it. BBC have won the radio rights. And according to Gareth Davies, Big John has banned Gareth Davies from Romford. John is a 51-year-old dude, like a child telling Gareth, "You're not invited to my house because you scored against my son, and now you're banned from Romford." Sounds like a badly produced Cockney gangster film going on.
Totally respect anyone's opinion who thought Dave won the fight, but the way you and Spencer went over the top, I thought you were a serious journalist. You showed how incapable you are of actually reporting
Did
on
Johnny
a
win
proper
that fight, John?
He won the fight, yeah. I watched it back. He won round 1 to 4, round 10, and round 7. You could have called it for Johnny. So for you to say it was a robbery and disgusting,
I said
Gareth,
I thought
Gareth,
the
you was welcome in my house before. You'll never be welcome in my house again because I
I
think
thought
you
the
acted
result
like a
was a
complete
disgrace.
and utter disgrace. All right, and I'll tell you to your face because I'm a man. I'm not holding back. Anyone can say they think Dave won the fight.
Yeah.
Dave's team themselves said it wasn't a robbery, and you're shouting out things like that. I've lost all respect for you. People used to tell me, "Don't respect Gareth Davies." I've said no.
Well,
He's
that's
all right.
fine. That's fine.
Totally lost all respect.
Okay, that's
for you.
fine.
Never,
Okay, you go and have your dinner, and we'll get on with the interview. Thanks, John.
never come
Cheers.
and see me again.
You go and have your dinner, and we'll get on with the interview. Thanks a lot. I think we have to call that 10-9 to Gareth.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one
Can do it better.
According to Lance Pugmire, the change of date for Canelo versus Crawford could be just something just to get people talking. Look, the Ryan Garcia-Devin Haney rematch died on its feet after their performances in Times Square. Turkey not interested in it no more. And the New York card and Canelo's card, that weekend, it's kind of put a dampener on what Riyadh's season has been doing. Let's keep it real. Canelo was going to fight Jake Paul before Turkey stepped in and we got William Skull. That's who he wanted to fight. Canelo has been on the mercenary grind. There's a lot of reasons, according to Lance Pugmire, why the fight will not go over to the 13th. I believe Akhmadaliev will challenge INOUE on the 13th. Did I hear right? There was a UFC event? Why would the UFC put an event on the same weekend Canelo and Crawford is on? Wasn't Dana supposed to be actually promoting that event? What happened to the Super League UFC Turkey collab? There's baseball and football on the 13th. I wouldn't be shocked if Turkey doesn't really want to mess with this fight. I have a feeling that Turkey doesn't want to mess with the divas. Canelo's a diva. Terence Crawford, he's had one fight since 2023. It's 2025. How old is he now? What is he doing to promote the fight by not having another fight after Canelo's stinkfest? Off the back of that Friday shit show in Times Square by Devin, Ryan. I said on this channel that when Turkey takes the Riyadh season thing to America, everything's going to come crashing down. The news seems to be suggesting that Crawford Canelo will be on Netflix. Now things can change between now and September, but right now Canelo versus Crawford has no it factor. It is what it is. One fight in 2 years for Terence. He's getting 50 million. He's not going to take no chances taking a tune-up before his Canelo payday. Is Canelo going to get a punch output in time for the Crawford fight? When fighters are looking to take fights with Jake Paul, it's likely they're just trying to extract money out of the game and not really test themselves if necessary. Canelo fans telling themselves that he would have looked like Sugar Ray Robinson prime time if it wasn't for William Skull moving excessively. Somebody needs to tell them that this is the last phase of man and man's career. Canelo versus Crawford is a fight that wouldn't happen in America. Even at a lower purse structure, it wouldn't happen. And I think the Saudis have to look at fights that they're going to put in Riyadh, or even in America. Crawford and Canelo is going to be in America. But if the Americans won't financially back fights like that, even at a lower pay scale, is it something you should invest in? If the Americans wouldn't bankroll for Ryan to collect that 20 million purse, is it something you should invest in? Or the fighters are just going to try and mug them off and mug off the public? Let's keep it real. But Crawford's lack of ring visibility, Canelo and his shit show, we need to demand that boxers do more. If they're going to be making $20 million purses like Ryan Garcia for fighting Rolly, and then he loses and doesn't even make it that competitive. Canelo got 100 million for the Skull fight, apparently. 100 million for that performance. Crawford's getting 50 million and he's in his late 30s. One fight in the last 2 years. We really don't know what fighter's going to show up. We're just going by probabilities. The older you are, the more inactive, the more likely he's not going to show up for a fight eventually. And the big question is, are both Canelo and Crawford trading off their reputations more than what they've done lately? Now don't get me wrong, their recent form would be great for the average fighter. But one of them don't want to fight and the other one's trying to take YouTube influencer fights. And they can dump all the blame on Skull for the Boar Fest on May the 3rd. But he still looks shit. No matter what you want to say, he still looks shit. It's only in boxing where you get fan bases who take no accountability for the fighters they support's mediocrity. None at all. It's just crazy.
Boxing
Beats and rhymes.
No one
can do it better.
Do you know, I was driving up here today, I was thinking, this feels very similar to when we picked Andy Ruiz to fight AJ. Bad choice of opponent, bad style, just everything bad. I thought Queensbury were a little bit smarter than that, but the good news is that they've got their head round, they just want to make great fights. But they chose wrong. And I wanted to let everyone know they've made a massive mistake.
Has Frank Warren messed up like Eddie Hearn is suggesting? Bringing in Justice HUNI, 5 weeks notice. Take heed, Martin Bacoli, 5 weeks notice, but he's probably not more than 10 pounds outside of his fighting weight. The Tasman fighter from Australia only has 7 knockouts in 12 fights, but he spars with the likes of Jai Pataya, and not dissimilar in boxing style to Jai. He can box and he can bang, and he puts his punches together very well. The debate a lot of people are having, and let's bear in mind, Kevin Lorena and Andrew Tabiti are not bad scalps. on Justice HUNI's record. He's got amateur pedigree. Is this a mistake by Frank Warren? This is arguably the most skilled boxer Fabio has faced. I know a lot of people haven't studied HUNI and they're going to just be dismissing what I'm saying. But HUNI has genuine skills, has really good hand speed, good balance, similar demeanour to Jao Pataya, laid back Australian sort of vibe, doesn't look fazed, doesn't look impressed by the whole situation. I think he will make an awkward target and I think he will take rounds of Fabio. I do believe so. But obviously crunch time is when or if Fabio connects with them big punches. He survived that late round scare against Kevin Lerena. Kevin Lerena did have Daniel Dubois on the canvas a couple of times. I don't feel HUNI will lose for lack of courage and heart. But the crunch time will be if Fabio lands them big bombs. But what will Fabio do when he's confronted with someone who can actually use his feet? Footwork gives most heavyweights issues. Heavyweights don't want to be having to try to cut down the ring and gulping in air as a result. They want someone to stand right in front of them. I think HUNI is a better boxer than Fraser Clark, and he drew with Fabio Wardley, utilising his jab and range control. Now, while HUNI don't have the same reach as Fraser Clark, he has quicker feet, he has faster hands, he can use angles. The angles are the key to any success HUNI has in this fight. And if he can replicate the angles he's shown against lesser opposition, obviously, if he can replicate that into this fight here, then we're going to have a real fight. Fabio Wardley is not a great boxer, right? He's not a great mover. He's not a guy who can live behind his jab for periods of a fight. That's not who Fabio is. Ben has taught him some tricks, like batting down Fraser Clark's jab, then coming over with that right hand, and you can see them practicing it on video before the fight. It wasn't no fluke. And Fabio has done well to improvise to get to this point in his career. 18-0, 1 draw, 17 inside the distance, ranked number 1 by the WBA, fighting for the interim title. No amateur experience, just white collar fights. It's remarkable. But is the time where he comes up against a boxer with amateur pedigree who knows how to use the ring, is that time coming? Is Justice HUNI the guy? HUNI said he ticks all the boxes over Fabio except for punching power. Of course, Fabio dismissed that, and so did Dillian, who was in attendance. Matchroom. They need to shake up the heavyweight division like they haven't done for a while. And this could be the opportunity. I've got Fabio the favourite going in, as the bookmakers will. But I see this being a tricky night. I don't agree with HUNI that the only thing Fabio can do is punch. And I like Fabio, but I would be amiss not to point out he sounded very cocky, and you've got to be confident. But this is a late replacement. He's not going to be out of shape. He's not going to do a Martin Bacoli. He's not slow like Martin Bacoli. He's younger than Fabio. He's undefeated. The Australians are notoriously tough. They had to take an opponent on, a ranked opponent, because this is for the interim WBA title. So they had to take on a ranked opponent. HUNI's also ranked by the WBO. And it's at Portman Road. They sold a whole load of tickets, so they couldn't come back with Mickey Mouse. They had to come back with a real opponent. But let me just repeat. When you're getting these late replacements, I heard some people complaining about Justice HUNI as a replacement. These people don't know nothing about boxing. They really don't understand boxing. You're preparing to fight someone who's 300 pounds, who doesn't have foot movement, who's not a boxer in a generic sense, not a boxer. He pulls out, and in 5 weeks, you got this guy who's going to bring a totally different style. He's ambitious, he's young. Now, this is very tricky. And Frank Warren seemed very happy and jovial about it. He didn't seem to be taking it serious. And Eddie was pointing it out. Frank Warren don't make mistakes. Can't believe he's took this. And Eddie is right. Obviously, Eddie's putting on a show, and he's trying to put it on Fabio and Frank, obviously. But he's right. And he's pointing out what happened to AJ at Madison Square Garden, where Jerome Miller pulled out of their fight. And short notice for HUNI is not short notice by the fridge. They were talking about matching him with Moses Atoma. They were talking about matching him with Joseph Parker. He's ticking over. He's waiting for the phone to call. He's been waiting for a fight like this.